We're going to go over flexibility progressions from stability to strength and to power through a static, active, and dynamic flexibility routine for the hip flexors. So Carolina is going to go ahead and get into a lunging position. We're going to do a kneeling hip flexor stretch for this static stretch. So with good alignment from ears through the shoulders, through the hip and the knee on that right side, she's going to be stretching out her right hip flexor. She's going to be in a 90-90 position through this left side. So she's going to start off with her knee right above her ankle. Now from here, Carolina is going to go ahead and do a little bit of a posterior pelvic tilt. And then she's going to lunge forward to get a little bit of a stretch through the front of the hip. She's going to go through her first point of tension. Once she feels a little tension, she's going to now posterior pelvic tilt to get a little bit more of a stretch through that front hip flexor. And then she's going to raise up and hold that arm up. Little tension through that midsection, belly button in towards the spine. And then a little bit of a glute contraction just to add a little bit more posterior tilt. And she's going to hold this static hip flexor stretch in the kneeling position for about 30 seconds. And that should be long enough for the muscles to relax so we can increase range of motion through the anterior hip of that right side. All right, go ahead and come out. And that is a kneeling hip flexor stretch for static. The next stretch we're going to do is an active stretch for that hip flexor. So we're going to do that from a kneeling position as well, just like what we did for the static stretch. So Carolina is going to get into her same position, same kinetic chain checkpoints, ears over shoulders, over hips, over knee. And now we're just going to move into and hold the stretch for 2 seconds and then back off, regress, reset, and then re-engage. So from here, Carolina's again, keep ear, shoulder, hip, knee in line, and she's going to go ahead and lunge forward, and then reach up. Again, a little bit of a posterior tilt, glute squeeze, ab tuck in, and then 2 seconds, back off. And then re-engage, lunge, posterior tilt, squeeze, hold for 2, and then back off. And from here, from the side view, you should notice a nice neutral position through that mid and low back. As she comes in, moves the hips forward. And even this lunging knee, I want to watch out for kinetic chain alignment where hip, knee, and the middle 2 toes are all in line as she lunges forward. Good, and we'll get one more. So again, nice steady pace. Lunge, tilt, squeeze, and then back off. And that is an active kneeling hip flexor stretch. Now the dynamic hip flexor stretch is going to be a hip swing. So Carolina is going to stand up now. From this standing position, she's going to hold on to a wall, or in this case she's going to hold on to the rig for a little bit of stability. And she's going to take that leg and swing the leg forward and back. And from here, she's got a nice neutral position through that low back. Swing is going to go just forward and back under control. Now, if she's feeling a little tightness, or if I start to notice any compensation patterns through that low back or even the head position, I'm going to back her off in the speed that she's using or the range of motion, or maybe both. So with this forward and backward hip swing, we're getting a more active motion through that front of the hip, and relax. And that is a standing hip swing.